You're working 40, 50, maybe 60 hours a week. You're exhausted, you're stressed, and somehow you're still broke. Meanwhile, there's someone out there, right now, making more money while they sleep than you'll make all month. And no, they're not smarter than you. They're not luckier. They don't have some secret trust fund. They just know something you don't. They think about money in a way that's completely opposite to everything you were taught. And in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that is. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And your bank account will never be the same again. I'm Mr. Coin, and we need to talk. Here's what nobody tells you. The difference between rich and poor isn't about how much money you make. It's about how you think about the money you have. You see a paycheck, they see ammunition. You see bills, they see investments. You see a price tag, they see a return on investment. It's like you're both looking at the same $100 bill, but you're seeing two completely different things. And that difference, that's what keeps you stuck and them soaring. For most of us, money means one thing: stress. It's rent, it's bills, it's debt. It's that sinking feeling when you check your bank account on a Sunday night. We're in survival mode, just trying to make it to the next paycheck without everything falling apart. But for wealthy people, money is a game they know how to win, a game of leverage, multiplication, and strategy. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. You're already playing this game. You're just playing it with the wrong rules. You're running the wrong playbook. And that's why you keep losing. But before we go any further, I need you to do something. Hit that like button right now. Because what I'm about to share with you, this isn't surface level stuff. This is the deep psychology, the actual thinking patterns that separate the wealthy from everyone else. And if you're ready to stop working for money and start making money work for you, hit that subscribe button too. Because we're about to completely rewire how your brain sees money. And trust me, once this clicks, everything changes. All right, let's start with the fundamental difference, the thing that changes everything else. It's how rich people see money itself. And I'm not talking about respecting it or being grateful for it. I'm talking about what money actually represents in their minds. The poor think money is for spending. Paycheck comes in, money goes out, simple as that. Rent, food, maybe a little fun, then it's gone. The middle class? They think money is for saving. Put it in the bank, watch the number go up, feel safe, feel responsible, and hey, that's better than spending everything, right? But the rich think money is for multiplying. Every dollar is a seed. Every dollar is a soldier. Every dollar has a job to do, and that job is to recruit more dollars. They don't see money as something that comes and goes. They see it as something that should be constantly growing, constantly working, constantly reproducing. It's not static, it's dynamic, it's alive. And this leads to a completely different language. When you or I hit a wall financially, we say, I can't afford this. End of story. Conversation over. Door closed. But when a rich person faces the exact same situation, the exact same price tag, they don't say, I can't afford this. They say, how can I afford this? Do you see what just happened there? Same situation, completely different response. One shuts down possibilities, the other opens them up. One accepts defeat, the other looks for solutions. It's like two people looking at a locked door. You say, well, it's locked, guess I'm stuck here forever. They say, cool, where's the key? Can I pick the lock? Is there a window? Can I call a locksmith? Can I buy a better door? Same locked door, completely different mental operating system. And it's not arrogance, it's not privilege, it's mindset engineering. They've trained their brains to automatically search for opportunities instead of accepting limitations. Your brain says stop, their brain says find another way. And that one mental shift, that one change in how you phrase the question, it ripples out into everything else, every financial decision, every opportunity, every risk. Now let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. How many times have you looked at a business opportunity, an investment, a chance to make money, and your first thought was all the reasons it wouldn't work, all the reasons you couldn't do it, all the obstacles? That's the scarcity mindset talking. That's the poor person's operating system. Rich people look at the same opportunity and their brain immediately goes to, how could this work? What would I need? Who could help me? What's the upside? Same opportunity, two completely different mental processes. And that's why they end up rich and most people don't. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what's something you talked yourself out of doing because you thought, I can't afford it? I want to know, because I guarantee there probably was a way. You just weren't thinking like a rich person yet. Okay, so we've established that rich people see money differently, but it goes deeper than that, way deeper. Rich people don't worship money, they don't obsess over it, they don't frame it on their wall, they deploy it, they use it like a tool, like a weapon, like a general commanding an army. Here's what I mean. Wealthy people invest in assets, things that grow in value, things that generate income, stocks, real estate, businesses, intellectual property, things that work for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when they're sleeping, especially when they're sleeping. They see every dollar as an employee, and just like an employee, it needs to have a job. Is this dollar recruiting more dollars? Is it generating cash flow? Is it building equity? Or is it just sitting there doing nothing, binge-watching Netflix? Because if a dollar is doing nothing, it's fired. Rich people have no loyalty to idle money. None. They move it, they invest it, they put it to work somewhere else. Meanwhile, what do most people do? They let their money sit in a savings account earning what, 0.05% interest, while inflation is running at 3, 4, 5%? That's not saving, that's losing in slow motion. That's like trying to fill a bathtub while the drain is open and wondering why you're not getting anywhere.
Rich people are obsessed with one thing above everything else: cash flow. Not stuff, not cars, not designer clothes or fancy watches. Cash flow. How much money is coming in every single month without them having to trade their time for it? That's the question. That's the metric. That's what they optimize for. And every financial decision, every purchase, every investment, it gets filtered through that lens. Will this generate cash flow? Will this multiply? Or is this just me spending money to feel rich for 5 minutes? Because here's a secret that's going to save you thousands of dollars. Truly wealthy people don't need to look rich. They are rich. They don't need the logo. They don't need the status symbol. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. Looking rich is what broke people do. Being rich is what rich people do. Big difference. It's like the difference between wearing a doctor costume on Halloween and actually being able to perform surgery. One's for show, one's real. And I know what you're thinking, but Mr. Coin, I see rich people with expensive cars and huge houses. Yeah, you do, but here's what you don't see. Those things are either paid for with cash flow from their assets, or they're strategic purchases that serve a business purpose. They're not financing a BMW to impress their coworkers. They're not buying a house they can't afford to keep up with the neighbors. Every purchase has a reason. Every dollar has a job. I once knew a guy, let's call him Dave. Dave made $60,000 a year and drove a brand new Mercedes. Financed, of course. Payments were killing him. Meanwhile, his boss made $300,000 a year and drove a 10-year-old Honda. You know why? Because the boss understood that cars don't make you money, they cost you money. The boss was building wealth. Dave was building an image. 10 years later, the boss retired at 50. Dave is still working and still making car payments. Don't be Dave. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, before you buy anything at all, ask yourself, is this an expense or an investment? Will this make me money or cost me money? Will this move me closer to financial freedom or further away? Start filtering your spending through that lens and watch what happens to your bank account. If you're getting value from this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We drop money psychology videos every week, and you don't want to miss this. Plus, I promise to keep roasting bad financial decisions in the most entertaining way possible. Now let's talk about something most people never address: emotions. Because here's the brutal truth. Most people make emotional money decisions every single day. You're scared, so you don't invest. You're excited, so you buy at the peak. You feel like you deserve a treat, so you blow $200 on stuff you don't need. You're angry at your boss, so you quit without a plan. Fear and greed, anxiety and impulse. Emotions are running your money life, and you don't even realize it. It's like letting a toddler drive your car. Sure, they're passionate and energetic, but do you really want them in control of something that important? Rich people, they've removed emotion from the equation. Not completely, they're human, but they've built systems that protect them from their own emotions. When the stock market crashes and everyone's panicking and selling, what are rich people doing? Buying. When the market's at an all-time high and everyone's celebrating and buying, what are rich people doing? Taking profits, selling. They move opposite to the crowd because the crowd is emotional and the crowd is usually wrong. They don't chase trends, they don't follow hype, they don't make decisions based on fear of missing out. They follow systems, boring systems, predictable systems, profitable systems. And yeah, it's not exciting, it's not sexy, there's no adrenaline rush. But it works, consistently, reliably, over and over again. Think about it like this. Emotional investing is like going to the grocery store when you're starving. You're going to buy everything. You're going to make terrible choices. You're going to spend way too much money. But if you go with a list, after you've eaten, with a clear head, completely different shopping cart. Same store, same products, different results. That's what systems do for rich people. Think about the last major money decision you made: buying something expensive, changing jobs, investing or not investing. Be honest with yourself. How much of that decision was logical analysis and how much was emotion? How much was fear? How much was trying to prove something? How much was just impulse because you felt a certain way in that moment? Rich people treat money like a business, not like therapy, not like a mood stabilizer, not like a way to feel better about themselves, like a business. Cold, calculated, strategic. And that emotional control, that ability to separate feelings from finances, it's what allows them to do something most people never experience: leverage. And oh boy, this is where it gets interesting. Stick with me here because this is the part that'll change everything. This is the big one. This is the secret sauce. This is what actually separates the wealthy from everyone else. Rich people don't trade time for money. They trade ideas for money. They trade systems for money. They use leverage. And leverage comes in three forms: money, people, and systems. Money leverage is using other people's money to make money. That's real estate investing. That's business loans. That's venture capital. People leverage is hiring employees, contractors, freelancers to multiply your output. One person can only do so much. 100 people can do 100 times more. And systems leverage? That's building something once that pays you over and over again. That's software, that's courses, that's books, that's investments that generate passive income. While most people wake up to an alarm clock dreading another day of trading hours for dollars, rich people wake up to dividends, to rental income, to affiliate commissions, to business profits that happened while they were asleep. That's the difference. That's the game. You're trading your time, which is finite. They're using leverage, which is infinite. Here's the mind-blowing part. You have the same 24 hours as Elon Musk, same amount of time as Warren Buffett, same amount of time as any billionaire on the planet. But they're using leverage to make those 24 hours count 1,000,000 times more. They're not working harder. No way. They're working smarter. They're building things that scale, things that multiply without them being involved in every single transaction.
Trying to get rich by just working more hours is like trying to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool with a teaspoon. Sure, technically it's possible, but you're going to die before it's full. That's not a strategy, that's a tragedy. And once you understand this, once it really clicks in your brain, you realize that trading time for money is the slowest possible way to build wealth. It's the guaranteed way to stay middle class forever, because there's a cap. There's a limit to how many hours you can work. Even if you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never sleep, never eat, you're still limited by time. But there's no limit to leverage. None. You can leverage to infinity. Here's a real example. A friend of mine, let's call her Sarah, worked as a graphic designer. 10 years doing client work, trading hours for dollars, making decent money, like $70,000 a year. Then she created an online course teaching graphic design. Took her 3 months to make it. Now that course generates $50,000 a year, every year, forever. She built it once. It pays her forever. That's leverage. That one decision changed her entire financial future. Comment below and tell me, what's one skill you have that you could turn into leverage? What's one thing you could build once that would pay you multiple times? I want to hear your ideas. And who knows, maybe your comment will inspire someone else reading this. All right, so here's the question you've been waiting for. How do you start thinking rich when you're broke right now? When you're living paycheck to paycheck? When you've got debt and bills and responsibilities? How do you make this mental shift when your bank account is laughing at you? Here's the beautiful truth. You don't need money to think like a rich person. You just need to rewire your brain. And I'm going to give you 4 specific, practical ways to do that right now. Write these down, screenshot this, tattoo it on your arm if you have to. I don't care how you do it, just do it. Number 1, stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, what will this return? Every single time you're about to spend money, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, is this an expense or an investment? An expense takes money away and gives you nothing back. An investment might cost money up front, but it returns more money later. Rich people don't just spend, they invest. Even when they're buying a book, they're thinking, what will I learn? How will this increase my income? What's the ROI, the return on investment? Start thinking this way about everything. That course that costs $500, don't ask if you can afford it. Ask what will it return. If it teaches you a skill that makes you an extra $1,000 a month, that's a no-brainer investment. 500 in, 12,000 out per year. That's a 2,000% return. If it just makes you feel productive, but actually doesn't increase your income, it's an expense disguised as an investment. See the difference? Number 2, track your money like a business, not like a consumer. Rich people know exactly where every dollar goes. Not because they're cheap, not because they're obsessed, but because they're strategic. You cannot optimize what you don't measure. You can't improve what you can't see. So start tracking. Get an app. Use a spreadsheet. Write it on napkins if you have to. I don't care how you do it, just do it. Where is your money actually going? How much are you spending on things that make you poorer versus things that make you richer? And here's what's going to happen. Once you actually see it clearly in black and white, you're going to be shocked. You're going to realize you're spending $200 a month on subscriptions you don't use, $300 on eating out when you could meal prep, $50 on coffee when you could make it at home. I'm not saying don't enjoy life. I'm not saying live like a monk in a cave eating rice and beans. I'm saying be intentional. Know where it's going. Make conscious choices instead of unconscious leaks. Because here's the thing. A small leak can sink a big ship, and your bank account is the ship. Number 3, focus on value creation, not effort. This is huge. This will change your entire career. Most people think they deserve money because they worked hard, because they put in the hours, because they showed up and did their job. But here's the harsh reality. The market doesn't care how hard you worked. The market cares about the value you created. Rich people are obsessed with this question. How can I create more value? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I help more people? How can I serve at a higher level? Because money flows to value. The more value you create, the more money comes to you. It's not about effort. It's about impact. You can work 80 hours a week digging ditches and make minimum wage. Or you can work 10 hours a week solving a high-value problem and make 6 figures. Same person, different value creation. That's the game. So ask yourself, what value am I creating right now? Am I just doing tasks or am I solving real problems? Am I replaceable or am I irreplaceable? Am I creating value that scales or am I trapped in the time for money exchange? Because if you want to think rich, you need to focus on value, not hours. And number 4, make your first $100 working smarter, not harder. This is the mental breakthrough. This is your red pill moment. Most people have only ever made money one way, trading hours for dollars. Clock in, clock out, get paid. But if you can make $100 from an idea, from a system, from something you created once that pays you multiple times, your entire brain rewires. I'm not exaggerating. It literally changes how you see opportunities. Sell something online, create a digital product, offer a service as a freelancer, flip something on eBay. I don't care what it is. Just make $100 in a way that isn't directly tied to hours worked. And when you do, you'll feel it. You'll feel your brain shift. It's like putting on glasses for the first time and realizing the world has been blurry your whole life. You'll start seeing possibilities everywhere. You'll realize that money isn't just about showing up to a job, it's about creating value that scales. That first $100 working smarter, that's your gateway drug to financial freedom. Once you taste it, you can't go back. Look, I'm not selling you a fantasy. I'm not saying you'll be a millionaire by next Tuesday. I'm not promising some magic formula that turns you rich overnight while you sleep and do nothing. What I'm telling you is this: the rich don't have a secret club. There's no hidden formula locked in a vault somewhere guarded by billionaires in robes. They just play a different game. They think differently. They see money as a tool, not a goal. They use systems, not emotions. They build leverage, not just work more hours. And once you learn the rules of their game, once you start thinking the way they think, everything shifts. You stop being a pawn on someone else's chessboard. You stop reacting to your paycheck and start creating your income. You stop hoping for raises and start building assets. You stop trading time for money and start using leverage to multiply your results. You become the player, not the piece being played. So here's what I want you to do right now. If this video changed something for you, if something clicked, if you're seeing money differently than you did 15 minutes ago, smash that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's stuck in the rat race, someone who's working hard but staying broke, someone who's ready for a different way. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what's the biggest money lie you were taught growing up? What did your parents tell you? What did school tell you? What did society tell you about money that you now realize was completely wrong? Because we all inherited broken beliefs. We all learned the wrong rules. But today, right now, you have the power to unlearn them, to think differently, to play a better game. I'll see you in the comments. And seriously, drop that money lie you were taught. I'm curious, was it money doesn't grow on trees? Was it just work hard and you'll be fine? Was it save everything and never take risks? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm Mr. Coin, and I'll see you in the next one. Now go out there and start thinking rich, even if you're not rich yet. Because thinking rich comes first, the money follows. Always.